Good morning, everyone, I should say. I almost said good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, August, I believe the 20th. Yes, I believe that is correct. August the 20th, 2019. It is currently 11:41 a.m. Central Time, not 12:41. I was going to say good afternoon, welcome everyone, but good morning. Welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, August the 20th, 2019. It is currently 11:41 a.m. Central Time, and this is a live broadcast for the VBC 66 app. Obviously, these live broadcasts are recorded, and these recordings are posted all over the internet. So, if you would like to hear the live broadcast when they're actually live, you can do so by getting the VBC 66 app, which is absolutely free, by going to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, doing a search for VBC 66, VBC 66. Again, it's free, and you'll have access to everything that we post. Also, if you would like to be able to listen to our live broadcast and keep up with everything else that we record and other live broadcasts and everything that we do, get the Spreaker app. It's absolutely free, and you can get that from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. The Spreaker app, again, it is free. If you have trouble finding the VBC 66 app or the Spreaker app, simply email me at newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com, and I'll be more than happy to I'll give you the information and tell you how to get the app, because again, it is free. All right, now with all of that said, what do we need to talk about today? Well, there is a growing problem, especially in some cities in the United States of America. It's been a problem that has been around forever, obviously, but it seems to be growing. Maybe in certain places it is growing, but it continually raises a question about what the Christian response should be. What should the response of a church be? Now, I think we can agree on this, or at least I'm going to make an argument. All right, here's what I'm going to start with this premise, that for many churches, it seems that they are more concerned with the size of their building, the look of their building, and ensuring that the building provides all kinds of opportunities for the members of that church to be entertained and to be fed, right? They're going to make sure that the church is a place of fun, food, and fellowship, having fellowship halls, places for basketball and games for the youth, and building these little, mega, I almost want to call them entertainment centers. These large facilities. You go by some large mega churches and they look like small cities. I mean, they're gigantic, and they have this building and this building, and they have a place for this activity and a place for this activity. And there's so much focus on the building, the look, not necessarily on the functionality of the building in order to serve people, but in a place to look nice and for a lot of activities to occur. I don't think anyone can deny that. I don't think it can be denied. Some may try to argue with me, but I think if they do, they wouldn't be honest with the nature of the problem. Okay. And I know it's easy for me to criticize that. Because I'm, pastor of a very small church, but I'm not trying to criticize the size. What I'm trying to do is criticize. There's almost a philosophy of, we got to make the building big, we got to make it look nice, and we got to provide all kinds of, of availability for people for fun, food, and fellowship. That seems to be the focus. It seems to be a very materialistic focus. Now, they'll claim that they're doing all these activities for spiritual reasons, but it just doesn't really feel that way, at least in part, right? In fact, the big fellowship meals that they have in these massive buildings are usually, there to feed people who, let's just be honest, all have places to go home to and eat, right? They have their own homes to go to eat. And I kind of go along with the Apostle Paul as he wrote to the letter to the the church at Corinth in 1 Corinthians, when they were abusing the Lord's Supper, he asked them, don't you have homes to go home? Don't you have homes to go to eat? Can't you go home and eat? Shouldn't you be coming to the church for something spiritual, not coming to the church to stuff your face? Now, I hold to that. That's why we don't have fellowship meals at our church or anything along those lines, and we don't have a big, kitchen, and we don't do all of that stuff. I don't think that's what the church was designed for. I know my perspective is radical, but I really hold to that. And I just want to throw this out there. What are churches doing with the money and the facilities that they have? And what should they be doing with it? I think this is a key element in what we're going to be talking about. All right, here is the news article. It was posted 5 hours ago. All right, here's the headline. San Francisco homeless stats soar. City blames big business. Residents blame officials. So obviously we have a problem. Homeless stats are rising. Now when we say stats, I hate that idea, because these homeless stats are talking about real people created in the image of God who are homeless, living on the streets. So it's a growing problem of human beings with no place to live, and they're living on the streets. And what happens? Well, the city blames big business. It's big business. It's their fault. Residents, they blame officials. So everyone's pointing the finger. In the meantime, human beings are living on the street. Now let's see what they have to say here. All right. San Francisco is a city of extremes. It has more billionaires per capita than anywhere else in the world. But it also has a homeless problem so severe that it rivals some third world nations. Now that's a big claim, and I want you to think about that, all right? We have situations developing in some of our major cities here in the United States of America that is beginning to rival those of third world nations. We know all the controversy about what President Trump said in regards to Baltimore. But if you look at any reports about Baltimore, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and other major cities in the country, they are starting to look like, at least in some of the sections of the cities, like a third world nation. Now, first we have to look at why is this happening, and second, what should be done to fix it, and then third, what should the response of the church be? You got 3 issues, right? What is causing this to happen in many major cities, right? Okay, what is the solution, and what should the response of the church be? Now, what many cases the response of the church is, especially on a lot of Christian radio stations that have been politically hijacked, this becomes a political issue. This is about politics, all right? But I don't think the church's solution, the church's response should not be one of politics. I don't think that is a biblical response in any way, shape, or form. But let's see what they have to say here, all right? So San Francisco, it's a city of extremes. It has more billionaires per capita than anywhere else in the world, but it also has a homeless problem so severe that it rivals some third world nations. On any given day, you can see souped up Lamborghinis and blinged out trophy wives in one part of the city, then walk over a few blocks and see piles of human feces, puddles of urine, and vomit caked on the sidewalks. The misery of homelessness, mental illness, and drug addiction hits deep in San Francisco and has turned parts of a beautiful city into a public toilet. Now, those are strong words, and they go through this talking about how bad the situation is. All right, I mean, and they've got quotes here the situation that critics are appalled by it, and that it's getting worse every single day. And they've got these stories of people being assaulted, people being spit on, how this man assaulted a woman, and then the judge just basically let him go, and then they were arrested for assaulting someone else. All of just craziness of what is happening. And then when you look at the statistics, right? In May, city officials braced themselves when a preliminary homeless count was released. They expected the numbers to rise, and they were right. Initial data showed that it had jumped 17% from 2017. The double-digit growth was bad enough, but then it got a whole lot worse. When the final report was released a couple of months later, it showed the street count increase would have been 30% if the city had stuck to the same definition of homelessness as they had in the past. This year, San Francisco opted to use the federal definition instead of the one they wrote themselves. So they didn't want so they're not really worried about giving you an accurate picture of the problem. They're trying to make the problem seem as not as severe because it will make the city officials look bad. See, that's a game, that's politics. And again, the church, that's not what we want to get caught up in, but all right. They go on. They talk about all the numbers, and there's a lot of things here we could say. There's a lot of things here we could say. I will most likely post this article underneath the audio for this recording, and I'll post it in the VBC 66 app wherever I decide to post this. So I'll send out a notification, and I'll, if you're looking for this article, I will save it and I can send it to you as well. Bottom line is, here's the thing. I don't think there's any dispute here. We have a major homelessness problem in the United States of America, and we have our cities beginning to look like third world countries. And there's lots of reasons for this increase in homelessness, increase in poverty, and a lot of these problems. I don't think there's any way to deny drug addiction and alcoholism remains one of the leading causes. Drug addiction and alcoholism. Drug addiction and alcoholism. Drug addiction and alcoholism. I cannot stress this enough. Now, we live in a day and age where, obviously in society, in culture, right, the use of drugs is almost just an acceptable thing, and there's very little pushback on trying to get people to stop doing them. Major cities all around the United States of America have major drug problems. Major drug problems. And it's almost just like, well, they're at least going to do this drug. They're going to at least do that drug. I don't want to get into political solutions. I'm looking at it more from a cultural perspective. There's almost a surrender to the fact that people are going to do drugs and there's not much we can do about it. And then we throw in alcoholism. All right? Now, the alcoholism is one of the things that absolutely just drive me crazy. And the reason why alcoholism drives me crazy is even many within the church are very accommodating to the drinking of alcohol. Now, I will say, this is an absolute, I don't know why Christians like to argue with me about this, because there's no argument here. The way to avoid alcoholism, this is deep. Don't drink alcohol, and there's not even the potential of alcoholism. I'm not saying we need to go to prohibition and pass laws to stop the sale of alcohol. I'm not even trying to get into that argument. I think there needs to be a greater just acceptance within society that alcohol contains an inherent danger. Some people drink, they're okay. Others drink, a lever gets flipped in their head, and they go from someone who drinks to someone who's dependent upon it, to someone who becomes addicted to it, to someone who destroys their life. There are functioning alcoholics, and there are those alcoholics who destroy their lives, destroy their family, destroy their relationships, destroy their career, and they end up homeless. And I think one of the responses of Christianity needs to be, look, don't drink, don't do drugs. Okay, it's just there's a greater chance of success in life by not doing these two things. Just don't do them. Don't do them. And I know what someone will say, well, the Bible only condemns drunkenness. I understand that. We live in a day and age where there are billions of drinks available without alcohol, right? You can get all the mixed drinks that you want. You can just get them without alcohol, right? You can drink this, you can drink that without alcohol. right? So we don't live in a day and age where our water supply is, in great question. And so drinking alcohol would have been a safer option. Now you can go buy